Well guys, here we are. The cupboards and such have changed a bit since the last time I showed you them. One of the most obvious changes you're probably going to see is, well, the fascia plate on the counter base here, as well as maybe the filler strip up there at the ceiling. Of course, all that starts to complete the cupboards. They actually start to look, fairly decent. Now, the other day I had some spare time on my hands, so I came down here and I tacked in some nailing edges or strips. Pretty much what I'm wanting to do is when I attach the pine to the undersill, I'm going to have to run some nails along here. As well as I'm going to put a few in the center to keep it from, sagging. As well as I'm going to have to put one right in there. And same with the underside. Under here I'll have to do, the same. And of course, once those are in place, I have to take, of course, and sand all the cupboards themselves. I'll take the doors off, take all that off, and then of course there are nailing brad nail holes right there and there. If I was going to stain this, make it all fancy nancy dancy, if I was going to stain this, then I probably would have done the brad nails in another area, so it wouldn't have required that. But being they're painting, you can get away with a lot when something is painted, so we'll give those a fill and all that good stuff. Probably have to touch up a couple of the visible seams, and then, well, it'll all be good. I went out to my garage, started digging around in the big, pile of wood hoard, and I did salvage, or was able to find some of the original pine from the office project from like 2012. So pretty much a lot of this material that I've used on this build for, the base, as you see right there, I didn't have to purchase. It was all already in-house. Stuff was left over from the office and things like that. I wouldn't have even had to have purchased that cabinet if I wouldn't have wanted a bar fridge there. I could have just put the second one that I have, just like that one, of the larger size in there, and it all would have, worked out fine. But of course, you want to do something good, you want to do it right and do the best you can, so you do it once and it's the way it is. So of course, guys, gonna set up the saw, make a couple of cuts, then we'll come right on back when the pine is nailed on in place. Well guys, there we go. Got the pine on pretty much on the bottom side of both the cupboards and this facing side here. Obviously, if I was staining this, the two different woods would really cause an issue with, the stain. It's not 100% the installation method to have the plywood on the underside of the cabinet. Usually what you do is you tuck it in, kind of like what I've done here. Run this through a planer or whatever and then stick it in and she's good. I got digging around in my wood hoard and I thought I found the sheets that I needed. However, the sheet that I had earmarked for there was actually a sheet of 3/8, and it wasn't pine, it was actually rough spruce. And at first I was going to stick it in there, but then I thought no, because this is the side you're going to see all the way around, right? So went back out to the wood rack, wood hoard, whatever you want to call her, and I found this sheet here of sanded pine that matches up. However, it's been through a bit of a rough life, so I don't know if I used it as a workbench or had it outside or where this one piece has been, but it cleaned up fairly well after I ran the sander through it. There is a couple of imperfections that, again, if I was staining it, that piece wouldn't have been used, but being I'm going to fill those imperfections anyways and paint it, it's all good. So pretty much, guys, of course, now I got to take the cupboards off, cupboard doors off of the bases. pretty much undoing them at the hinges, taking the hinges, of course, off of the cupboard, setting them aside, filling all the holes, giving the cupboards a sand, trimming with the Dremel over here in that corner with the pine there, which is no big at all with my my Dremel. And well, it's basically coming together. She's all good to go. Probably gonna end up notching in here just a blade width or so, because I got some of the pine to go in there that'll slide and finish this corner off, and as well as there will be a little filler strip or quarter round or something to go in there that will come at a later time. But pretty much, guys, of course, let's pull those cupboard doors off and then see what happens. So now the doors are off of the cupboards themselves. You can have a look at what you're needing to, well, repair, fix, stuff like that. So of course, over here we got the doors all laid out. I've already took the hinges off of the first 3 doors, pretty much, you know, 2 there and 1 there. And well, this is pretty much the back side of the door. Of course, the hinges aren't the really expensive hinges. They're kind of the cheaper ones. They don't have the automatic, soft close or the little quick release. But they do have the adjustment screw where you can rock the hinge back and forth, like in and out, as well as, you know, adjust different angles. So, you know, they do a good enough job. When I did my office, I wasn't 100% sure, you know, on the longevity of the hinges. And well, they've done quite well. They haven't broke yet. If this was a kitchen that was being used, you know, every day, 364 days out of the year, there may be a problem with those hinges, you know, but I don't really think they would put a extremely cheap, cheesy hinge, you know, on a cupboard. I think they would try to, you know, put a satisfactory hinge. I believe you can change these out. I'm not 100% sure. I haven't really compared them to, you know, the ones that are on the shelf. I know this part is similar or the same. I just don't know how this one here bolts on up, if they have comparable or upgradable ones. So pretty much you can use your handheld driver if you want, or your drill. Pretty much just loosen them off. Kind of like that. Put them in your little Ziploc baggie or you know, tub, whatever you're going to use, storing the parts and the hinges. And then basically we can get on to the sanding and the finishing. You know, there will be blemishes on the doors. It's just the way they are. You know, some of them happened because the fact that they're wood, and others have happened because, well, they are kind of a discount, cheaper grade. So you got to fill a few, sand them down, you know, make them pretty. What I'll probably end up doing is sanding them, giving them a coat of primer, sanding them once more with a bit of finer paper, giving them the coat of paint, and then seeing how they look. If they need another sand, then I'll sand them again, give them a second coat of paint, and then put them back on the cupboard and then see how they look. Sometimes a nick or a scratch will show up in different lighting or whatever's. If they look good, then of course, when everything else gets a clear, we'll put a clear coat on these as well. So pretty much, guys, that pretty much concludes this here video. Working on the basement project here, getting the cupboards you know, built together, assembled, stuff like that. In the next segment of the cupboard section, we will of course be doing the fine finishing with the puttying, you know, the priming, painting, all that good stuff. But for now, this is the, of course, rough-in. And as always, thanks for watching Maxwell's World. Comment, subscribe, and enjoy.